If you guys have been watching the channel over the last roughly couple weeks, I have been putting together some major connections between Caroline D. Pham and of course Brad Garlinghouse, because something is brewing behind the scenes with how many posts we are getting from Caroline on X regarding Ripple, XRP, and of course even Brad. Let's talk about the most recent one, which was this one. Great to catch up with Brad Garlinghouse. Onward, and this was from the 15th. Now, like I said, if you guys have been watching the channel over the last couple weeks, you know that this is not a new update with Brad. In fact, there's been many meetings between Caroline and Brad recently, as well as major posts from Caroline regarding Ripple. But this has led me to believing that there's going to be a major acquisition between MoonPay and Ripple. I believe that it's getting closer to being announced, but Monica Long said they won't acquire an exchange, is the quote that a lot of people have been saying to me. But MoonPay isn't your typical exchange, and we'll come back to that here in a moment. But if we go over here, this is from January 3rd. We have how it's going, and again, this is XRP flipping BNB on the 2nd. Then we also have from the vault, and of course, yes, Brad and Caroline are talking at the end of December at this major event. And then also how it started, going back to December 30th. And this is when I really started to look at this and say, well, I believe that there's going to be a major acquisition. Now, somebody did ask me regarding why they would be acquiring MoonPay. Well, you know, MoonPay technically fits the bill of an exchange, but it's technically infrastructure. But they also have a massive infrastructure base with a ton of customers, 30 million to be exact, over, 500 companies across the decentralized economy as well. I mean, they are a major name. They have massive names tied to them. This is core infrastructure in areas like the US, the UK, the EU, Canada, and even Australia. So I do think that this would be a very good acquisition for Ripple. However, we know at the end of 2022, they had about $3.4 billion in total equity. So I don't know how expensive it would be to acquire MoonPay, but everyone has been saying like, oh, MoonPay is an exchange. They don't want to, acquire an exchange. MoonPay is a multinational financial technology company involved in the transfer of cryptocurrency. It's not exactly an exchange. I look at MoonPay as core infrastructure. Like, this is a payment infrastructure stack. So I look at it as an on and off ramp, essentially. Even if you're looking at MoonPay's platform, yeah, you could buy and sell crypto. You could send money though. Like, this is, buy, sell, and using crypto. It's not just an exchange. They have so many products here if you actually look at their product base. They also have a business side to MoonPay as well. And we can see the volume, the verified accounts, the ecosystem partners. Like I said, 500 customers are tied to their platform. This is a massive infrastructure. So I believe that this is something that's in the works right now. We'll see what happens, but I'm taking one for the team, and I'm putting myself out there and saying, hey, I do think that MoonPay will be a major acquisition of Ripple's this year. Now, talking about Ripple and talking about some pretty big moves. We just got another major announcement from Ripple that I think almost everyone should be paying attention to, because it builds on something that we have been talking about over the last couple weeks. But before we continue, I just want to let you guys know that I Trust Capital is one of the best platforms in this space for buying, selling, and holding crypto, along with gold and silver. And the best part is you could tap into their tax advantaged account. That's right, a crypto IRA. This is great for those long-term holders around crypto that don't want to get hit with massive amounts of taxes on their holdings. If you guys do want to go check them out, there's going to be a link down in the description below, as well as in the comments below as well. Go check it out. You guys won't regret it. I Trust Capital is one of the best in the game. So this is the big announcement from Ripple that I was talking about. We have here that we are partnering with LMAX to accelerate institutional stablecoin adoption and cross-asset mobility. RLUSD will be integrated as core collateral across LMAX's global marketplace, unlocking cross-collateral efficiencies across crypto and traditional markets. Now, yeah, I think that this is an incredible announcement, and we'll talk about exactly why, but we have here, we are thrilled to announce a partnership with Ripple to accelerate institutional stablecoin adoption adoption and cross-asset mobility. This multi-year collaboration will see LMAX Group integrate RLUSD collateral across its institutional trading infrastructure, enabling clients to benefit from cross-collateralized trading and margin efficiencies in spot crypto, perpetual futures, and CFD trading. Now, I did say another incredible partnership announced with Ripple. This will be great for RLUSD and even XRP, considering the supply on the XRP ledger has been increasing rapidly lately. Love to see this. And yes, 25% of RLUSD supply now is essentially on the XRP ledger, which we love to see. But what exactly is big about this partnership? What we know recently from Ripple XDev on the 13th, they announced permission domains alongside the permission DEX. Now, we addressed one of the biggest use cases from this, and that big use case obviously was on-chain FX, right? Because if we're looking at the use cases that this enables, stablecoin and fiat FX swaps is the big one for on-chain FX. Now, the FX market, $7.5 trillion per day market, absolute massive monster of a market. And again, we also talked about one of Ripple's most recent moves. If we go down here real quick to their blog post real quick. So I'm not too sure if it's in here, but we do know that they recently got their license in the UK. And we also know that the UK is responsible for well over like 30% of the FX turnover rate. Now, I don't know where it is. Maybe it's in content library. I don't know. Regardless of it, we already know that they got their license in the UK, which was a big deal. And like I said, they are a massive name in FX. I think it's 38% to be specific. They move about like $4.5 trillion per day in the FX market. They're a massive name. But that, along with, of course, the announcement of the permission domains to enable those types of use cases on the XRP ledger, really kind of hints at where we're headed. Now, with LMAX, I think that this is just another big move regarding the FX market. Why do I say so? Well, if we go over to LMAX's website, right off the rip, we have here a dynamic vision for global FX and digital assets, shaping the future of the global FX and digital assets marketplace. Now, they offer three specific platforms: the LMAX exchange, which looks like this, just, the institutional exchange for global FX. They also offer, and let's go back real quick, LMAX Global. Again, the trusted global FX liquidity source. We have here that we operate FX brokers in the UK, Europe, New Zealand, as well as other, major areas around the world. Like, for an example, liquidity pools in London, New York, Tokyo, and Singapore. They are a massive name. Now, if we go also back over here to LMAX Digital, this is what their LMAX Digital platform looks like. Pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy. Like, they have trading and custody here. They also have an overview of this if you really wanted to read more about it. Main thing that we are looking at is the fact that, yes, XRP is tapped in here. It's pretty straightforward. It's nothing too, crazy. But those are their three major platforms. Now, on top of this, yes, we do have multiple areas. Like, we have the group, the exchange, global, digital, but then we also have the deliverable FX and crypto insights. So this is one that I've been really kind of looking at, where we are starting to see a convergence between FX and crypto, where we could potentially start to see stablecoins being utilized in FX and enabling much more efficient money movement. I do think that we are seeing a lot of these major markets like FX converge with crypto because of the streamlined money movement, which is also why when we are thinking about LMAX, we also think about the weekend FX. Now trade FX 7 days a week. This is very interesting coming from LMAX because, again, typically the FX market is only 5 days a week. LMAX Global offers weekend FX trading, enabling market participants to capitalize on FX movements over the course of a weekend or hedge their FX exposure when there is no underlying market available without having to wait for the market to open on Sunday night. Now, I wonder how they are doing this. Obviously, they have their own platform, they have their own liquidity pools, but I would argue that they're most likely going to be utilizing some sort of blockchain-based technology. Maybe that's me thinking a little bit more into the specifics of this. We don't really have too much data on this, but regardless, we know that LMAX is pretty much all in on crypto at this point. They are fully focused on digital assets and crypto technology. And I think that this partnership with Ripple is definitely a big one that kind of shows us where this is headed, like I said. Now, another big deal that I have been looking into here from LMAX is the members tied to their institutional FX exchange. So like I said, this is just a full FX exchange, nothing too crazy. Like we have here, LMAX Exchange, part of the LMAX group, delivers efficient market structure and transparent, precise, consistent execution to all market participants, including funds, banks, proprietary trading firms, institutional brokers, and asset managers. Operating multiple global institutional FX exchanges and FCA-regulated MTF and MAS-regulated RMO, LMAX Exchange enables institutions worldwide to trade on a central limit order book with streaming, firm limit order liquidity from top-tier global banks and non-banks. Now, if we go back over here to their members list, this is where things get very, very interesting because we now have this partnership with Ripple with ROUSD exposure, right? So we have here the LMAX Exchange contract types, pretty straightforward, right? Nothing too crazy. We know that the ISDA is tapped in here. The same ISDA that Ripple partnered up with back in like 2023. This is a massive derivative player. Now we have clearing and settlement. Check this out. Major prime brokers are active on LMAX Exchange. Bank of America, Barclays, BNP Paribas, Citibank, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan, NatWest Markets, Standard Chartered, Societe Generale, UBS. Credit intermediation on LMAX Exchange is provided by BNP Paribas and HSBC. By the way, two major partners of Medico, which are still utilizing Medico to this day, which is Ripple Custody. And we also know that HSBC has been working closely with Ripple on multiple ventures. This is very big. Pre-trade transparency as well. Just looking at this is kind of just like the market itself. This is kind of just giving you guys a breakdown of their internal trading, and you can track all of this if you wanted to. But the main thing that I'm looking at here is the partners. These exchange members are massive names. Like these are very large banks that are tied back to the LMAX Exchange. These are all, I mean, if you think about it like this, right? You have Bank of America, Citi, and JP Morgan. That's three of the top largest banks worldwide. I believe that the push for FX on chain here from Ripple, I think that we are starting to see crucial players being tapped in, like for example, LMAX. I think that this is a very big deal, but I'm starting to see the puzzle pieces falling into place to enable on-chain FX. The main thing that I'm watching now with all of these amendments is the institutional DeFi portal on Ripple going live. I think that that's going to be a big enabler of a lot of these major use cases like FX on chain. I'm very excited about the future here. I'm watching this closely. I will keep you guys posted if I see anything interesting around this. This was definitely a big one with LMAX, but I'll keep you guys posted. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video.